Hi, good Saturday afternoon to you. I apologize in advance for the lengthiness of this video. There's a lot of information that we'd like to share with you, and we want to share it because we believe in a healthy community. We want healthy patients, and I think that this next phase 2 of the COVID-19, is going to be an important one. It's going to be sloppy. There's going to be different businesses opening. There's going to be different regulations in different states, even in different areas of some states, perhaps. And so instead of having this, phase 1 big peak that we want to stay out of, phase 2 is going to be longer. We're going to have a more chronic risk of exposure, and there's going to be a continuum of cases, I believe. This is all strictly my opinion. And so I actually think that in phase 2, it's going to be even more important to pay good attention to our health and our immune system. And so again, we believe in a healthy community, and I hope that some of this information is helpful to you. If you have tested negative to the COVID-19 antibody test, I urge you to pay even more attention to your health, because that really indicates that you have not come across this virus yet. Okay, so I have my cheat sheet here. It's a little bit long. I will have a printout that we can email it to people, and also post, I think, a picture of the treatment plan that I am going to do. So I'm not making recommendations for everybody. Everyone's very different, but I would like to share with you what I'm going to do over the next couple of months so that I reduce my risks and I improve my strength, really, when I come across this virus, if I haven't already. So it's in 2 segments. I have lifestyle, and then there's supplements. So in lifestyle, the social distancing is still going to be a factor. We want to still pay attention to that. There was a South Korean study that recently came out, showing that it's the water droplets from coughing and sneezing that seem to be much more infective than surface areas. So maybe worry a little bit less about the male, but definitely pay attention to anyone who's coughing or sneezing around you. And in this study, they showed how just a average cough sent water droplets about 9 feet out from the person and lingered there for at least 30 seconds. So when you're in the grocery aisle and you're passing by someone, pay attention to that. I would still pay attention to surface areas, wearing gloves, if you're out, washing your hands after you come in, using disinfectant that's alcohol based. You can use dilute bleach to wipe packages or groceries down if you like. Those are all good things, but just straight soap and water, anything that foams, that is the detergent, will break down that protective layer of the virus. So I also want to talk about diet. As I've said before, carbs, but especially sugars, suppress the immune system. But they also want to talk about obesity. Obesity seems to be one of the important risk factors, more than blood pressure, more than diabetes, more than asthma for sure. Seems to be a risk factor for severe outcomes in people who are infected with the SARS-CoV virus. So keeping that in mind, the diet is an important factor, as well as that it suppresses the immune system. So along with that is exercise. Exercise, it helps us overall. It does help with stress for sure. It does help the immune system, but it also can help with the obesity factor, or making sure that we are as healthy as we can be in that realm. The other thing about exercise is that people with poor ventilation, lung ventilation, also have more severe outcomes. So I like to make sure that I'm getting plenty of cardio in these next couple of months. Not a whole lot. I don't want to do endurance cardio because that's going to wear me down actually, but just 20 to 30 minutes a day of either cardio or weights. Sleep is also an important lifestyle factor. Good sleep is good for the immune system, and I would encourage, I'm going to be taking some melatonin, very low dose, to kickstart my own melatonin. And the reason for that is because melatonin has been shown to inhibit a protein called NLRP3. And this is an inflammasome that is actually responsible for the massive inflammatory response that is harming people and then in some cases killing people with the COVID-19 virus. And the more that we can suppress that overreactive inflammatory response, the better we are. So having good doses of melatonin can be beneficial in that regard. I've spoken before also about hyperthermia and hypothermia, that is exposure to heat and cold. So sauna, hot tub, just taking a nice hot Epsom salt bath, cold shower, exercising out in the cold, those are good. And even better is the contrast between hot and cold. So if you're taking a sauna, take a hose off with a cold hose or a shower. If you're taking a shower, you can do 2 minutes hot, 1 minute very cold, and rotate that 3 times. Another one that's been shown to help improve the innate immune system, so that's what these exposures to heat and cold do, is exercising and then taking a cold shower or getting a cold plunge. That also enhances innate immune system function. And in case you missed the other videos, the innate immune function system is the first part of the immune system that is going to meet this virus. And the older we get, the less robust our innate immune system is. And kids have a really strong innate immune system. So everything we can do to enhance that is going to be helpful to us. So I want to go into the supplements that I'm going to be taking for a while and go into a couple of reasons for each one of them. Vitamin D is really important for the immune system. I'm going to be taking 5,000 IUs a day with food, fat, or my fish oils, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin. Not only does it strengthen immune response, but it also enhances immune tolerance. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Vitamin C is, yes, an old standby. It's a major fuel for the immune system. I like to take it with bioflavonoids, and I'm going to be taking 2,000 milligrams twice a day. Vitamin C also increases nitric oxide production, and the nitric oxide also helps suppress that NLRP3 inflammasome. So another way that vitamin C is helpful, but in that initial kickstart reaction, vitamin C is important for increasing the expression of NF-kappa beta and type 1 interferons, and those are part of that initial response. So vitamin C is a definite one. As far as herbs go, I do like astragalus. It's a Chinese herb, and in Chinese medicine, it's considered a blood builder. And one of the ways it's a blood builder is helping to strengthen the immune system. So I'm going to be taking 2 caps of that a day. Zinc is probably something you've all been hearing about. And yes, I'm going to be taking either zinc picolinate or bisglycinate at either 15 milligrams twice a day or 30 milligrams once a day. Zinc is also really important for a competent immune system. And zinc is particularly important with this COVID-19 because it can inhibit the enzyme replicase, and that's an enzyme in your cells that the virus harnesses to make copies of itself and then infect the rest of your body. And the more we can slow that down, the less sick we're going to be, and zinc has been shown to be very effective at that. The trouble with zinc, though, is that it's hard to absorb a lot of zinc. And so you need a zinc ionophore in order for it to get substantial amounts in the cell. And my favorite zinc ionophore is quercetin, because it's also has antiviral qualities of its own. It's a beautiful bioflavonoid. I'm going to be doing about 250 to 500 milligrams a day of quercetin. Another vitamin that's been shown to be especially important for this COVID-19 virus is vitamin A. So Vitamin A seems to gets reduced or deficient when we're fighting infections, and having substantial doses of vitamin A has been shown to be helpful against other viruses such as measles and RSV. Vitamin A deficiency has been shown to alter the composition and the function of the alveolar basement membrane. So the alveolus are the small little sacs in our lungs that do the transfer of carbon dioxide and oxygen. And in COVID-19 disease, that basement membrane gets thickened in severe cases and doesn't function as well. And so the vitamin A, I would say, is an important thing to have to help maintain that integrity should you get sick or should I get sick. Vitamin A deficiency has also been shown to decrease the amount of immunoglobulin A and mucin concentrations. And so immunoglobulin A is what's found mostly in mucous membranes, so in our airways, in our lungs, and then also our GI tract. And I don't know if you've heard, but some people don't show it first, the COVID-19 first in their airways, they show it first in their GI tract. And so that is a way that we can get infected with it. So vitamin A is important at maintaining those immunoglobulin A levels. Now, vitamin A, like vitamin D, and then also NAC, are not only important for having a good initial response, but they're very important for immune tolerance. And so immune tolerance comes back to that inflammatory response I was talking about. There's a balancing act in the immune system. You want it to kick off, but you don't want it to keep going with all the inflammatory responses, because that's what is really killing people. And so immune tolerance is important. Vitamin D, vitamin A, and also NAC. So the NAC is N-acetylcysteine. Oh, let me go back to vitamin A, sorry. I'm going to be taking 7.5 milligrams every other day with food, with fat, with my fish oils. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. NAC stands for N-acetylcysteine. Cysteine is an amino acid that is the major building block for glutathione, and there's many functions in the body for glutathione, but in this case what I care about is the immunoregulatory component of glutathione, where it helps keep that balance between the inflammation and then the deceleration as we're fighting off the disease. And then the last category is probiotics, or helping my microbiome. So yeah, taking probiotics, you can also take things like arabinogalactans that can help the microbiome. The diet is effective for strengthening the microbiome. So our good bacteria, like vegetable fibers, for example, and sugars and carbohydrates, actually promote a disadvantageous microbiome. So the microbiome is an important first-line defense for our immune system, and people do much better with a healthy microbiome. So that's my plan. I hope it helps. You can ask questions, comment. I'll do my best to respond to them here. And in the near future, I'm going to be presenting a 5-day immune challenge, and I'm going to be doing it with you if you want to take on certain aspects of this plan, and we can do it together. So cheers, stay healthy.